Tonight on JoyNews Prime, 42-year-old man in police custody for allegedly shooting and killing girlfriend in a hotel. Suspect is also accused of reporting the matter to police as armed robbery. Over 40 kiosk cars and a bar burned to ashes at Islam under the Achimota overhead bridge as farmers in the Sisala West district of the Upper West region also count their losses after fire ravaged their farms. We have some fire tips from the Ghana National Fire Service for you. Also in this bulletin, President Akufo-Addo prepared to support the judiciary to solve infrastructural challenges as he swears in Chief Justice Kwesi Eniniaboa at the Jubilee House.
I assure Chief Justice Eniniaboa that I'll be a reliable and trusted partner of the judiciary so that the executive and judiciary can cooperate in a spirit of mutual respect to entrench good governance for the advancement of our people.
And in business,
South Africa begins talks with Ghana for a partnership to develop a vibrant automobile industry.
All kinds of cars can be made in one country. So Ghana may specialize in one type of vehicle, South Africa in another type of vehicle, and we trade with each other.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. JoyNews Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle in Accra with digital address GA09925539. We're also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Please stay tuned in. In our very first story, President Akufo-Addo has charged the new Chief Justice, Justice Eniniaboa, to ensure modernization, decency and fairness in the country's justice delivery system. The president has also described as unacceptable the practice where some judges give rulings and orders without reason. President Akufo-Addo was speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of Justice Eniniaboa at the Jubilee House. Latif Idris was there for JoyNews.
Justice Eniniaboa has today become the 26th Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana since 1876, following the Supreme Court ordinance. He is also the 5th male Chief Justice and the 7th to be appointed in Ghana's 4th Republican government. At his swearing ceremony here at the Jubilee House, President Akufo-Addo says he expects nothing but decency and also to continue what his predecessor, Justice Sophia Akufo, started with the reforms in Ghana's justice delivery system.
I expect decency, discipline, fairness, hard work, deep-seated respect for the rule of law, and the continuing modernization of judicial activities to be the hallmarks, too, of his era as Chief Justice. The judiciary has the onerous responsibility of being the bulwark of the defense of the liberties and rights of our people. It can only carry out that task well if it has their unalloyed respect. As I've stated before, the situation where judges prefer judgments on the basis of decisions from lower courts and cite them as law is not acceptable, and even less so when judges cite no authority at all for their rulings and give orders without reasons. I assure Chief Justice Eniniaboa that I'll be a reliable and trusted partner of the judiciary so that the executive and judiciary can cooperate in a spirit of mutual respect to entrench good governance for the advancement of our people.
The Constitution and laws of the Republic of Ghana. The Constitution and laws of the Republic of Ghana, so help me God. So help me.
In his acceptance speech, Chief Justice Eniniaboa listed the many challenges currently plaguing the judiciary and assured the president of going all out to address them.
I have solemnly made 3 oaths for which I will be responsible to this country and to my Creator. These promises to be loyal to the Republic and faithfully perform the functions of my office without fear or favor, affection or ill will guide me daily in all decisions I take in my role as Chief Justice. During my vetting by Parliament, it was evident that the following issues concerning the judiciary were of concern to the representatives of the people of Ghana: the integrity of the judiciary and the continuing perception of corruption, delays in the justice delivery system, poor infrastructure of the courts and residences of judicial officers, inadequate resources for the running of the judiciary and justice delivery system, challenges surrounding the legal education in Ghana. I want to assure the people of Ghana that I will continue to jealously guide the integrity of the judiciary as my predecessors in office have done, and will take all necessary steps to ensure that during my term of office, solutions are found to these issues of concern. In doing so, Your Excellency, I will count on your support to secure the much-needed financial resources for improved and efficient justice delivery.
Former Health Minister under the erstwhile John Dramani Mahama administration, Alex Segbefia, is confident the new Chief Justice will transform the country's legal system.
His CV speaks for itself. He's gone through the whole legal process, acted as a lawyer, was working in Kofredwa, then moved into the High Court, moved from the High Court into the Court of Appeal, and then to the Supreme Court. And he's been in the Supreme Court for a number of years. So in terms of his competence, ability, that is not in question at all. There are others who were in the play, and the question was who was going to make the ticket. By God's grace, it has fallen on him. It's an onerous task, but we all believe that he's up to it, and we wish him well in his endeavors as the Chief Justice.
Justice Ansah, who was a caretaker Chief Justice when Justice Ofaye Kufu's tenure ended in December last year, gives way today as Justice Eninia Boy's role takes immediate effect.
Police in the Ashanti region says its investigation into an alleged murder of a woman at the Cedar Crescent Hotel at Denyami, Kumasi, indicates that the deceased was shot and killed by her 42-year-old boyfriend Edwin Ewuku, who checked into the hotel with the victim at 1 a.m. on January 2, 2020. There is more in this statement on the Facebook page of the Ghana Police Service, which reads, the police investigation into an alleged murder of a woman at the Cedar Crescent Hotel at Denyami, Kumasi, indicate that the deceased was shot and killed by suspect Edwin Ewuku, 42, the boyfriend who checked into the hotel with the victim. There was no armed robbery attack at the hotel, as was reported by the complainant, who is the wife of the suspect. The suspect, Edwin Ewuku, on Thursday, January 2, 2020, at about 1 a.m., checked into the said hotel with the girlfriend Comfort Owusu Friye, alias Mameya, 46. That was while in the hotel room, the suspect, Edwin Ewuku, shot the victim and in the chest, killing her instantly, and he suspects Ewuku sustaining injury. The suspect Ewuku sustaining injury on his left forefinger in the process. Ewuku, sensing danger, left the hotel premises unnoticed and drove to his residence at Amekum and informed the wife about the incident and dropped the exhibit weapon and his mobile phones at home. Both the suspect and the wife went back to the hotel to raise alarm on the incident, drawing the attention of other persons. Both later drove to the Central Police Station, where an official complaint of an alleged armed robbery and murder was reported. Meanwhile, Hementeria of our security desk has been speaking to the manager of the hotel.
This man never indicates that he has a gun in his bag. We didn't know anything. Then he checked inside the room on that very day.
So there are questions about whether you heard the gunshot in one of your rooms, because according to police, the gentleman shot his partner from one of your hotel rooms. Did you, when I say you, I mean the hotel management, the receptionists or the workers here, hear the gunshot?
No, please, because that very day, that very night, there were parties going on in the area. There was a church also at our back there, so they were also having their own thing. So there were noise around. There was really noise around, and that day you can't hear anything. So we didn't hear anything. When we check you to the room is for you, and we don't have any business. Whatever goes on in the room is you. That day,
You didn't hear the gunshot?
We didn't hear any gunshots. So like I said, noise, parties were going on, church activity programs, so we didn't hear anything.
But how did you know that this gentleman in question shot his lover?
After he did it, then he came to create a scene at the reception. So he started making noise, and the receptionist came out and found out what is it, and he said somebody just entered. So quickly, when the receptionist was a bit confused, then he called me, and I said no, then we have to report to the police immediately. So we reported the case to the police, and the police came around, and they found out that with our area, Denyame is first-class residential area. Security is very tight. People who knew Denyame and where Cedar Crescent is, they know that security is very tight in the area. And there was any sign, nothing shows that there has been armed robbery attack. So they created it. When he shot the girlfriend, he rushed home, apologized to his wife, and they rushed to report the case at the police station, came back to the hotel to create a scene.
So are you still in operation, the hotel?
Yes, we are doing business. People are coming in with the investigation and everything. People are coming in, we are doing everything is safe, and I'm assuring all our customers that still Cedar Crescent Hotel, security is strong, is safe, we are doing our business. It's unfortunate this man came, killed his girlfriend, and tried to frame it. But he forgot himself that this area is first-class residential area with strong security.
Over 40 kiosks, some cars and a bar have been burnt to ashes at a slum under the Achimota overhead bridge. Residents at the slum located between Eden Securities and McKay Pub woke up to the fire Tuesday morning and are counting their losses. Eyewitnesses say the fire started from one of the kiosks belonging to the son of the landlord who sold the land to McKay Pub. They suspect the fire was deliberate because the new landowner has paid the tenants to vacate the property.
Sister bi ba se je ba o ye pie na na jan hu se jan free na se na ba nti me pie me hu me ba ne bio me nim pa ko je fe me nsam so me nya ba nyina hye me ba no kra bo na hu ya me no me hu ne dadam na me ni nyina na ti dem asa na o se jan ne ba na me kita ne se du ga nda me hu ne bio me pa cho bi na di homa busumi bia etwa asase sika tete Ghana ema ye afra asase rua no because asase rua da bi won ye o ti ase wo ho won ye asase rua o ji da bia eja na free eja na free street for na ti na eba ye wo no oh me ba no me o 2 years where you ba why me huni oh ya bema oh 2 years I'm so kita go I'm me say why 2 years na hu no why akwa no so o kuta obi why one who say sister ni o tu for ne ba enya ne ne ma aka aso omoda ekire wono amoko abasho omoda so omoko edena so omoda catch omo na 3 days so obi anyi ki oso free I'm say 3 days and that's 4 days ekire wo anyone kan I'm kan betel enya kwa on dey obi nya aka so mo free wono wa sho omo tam na omo nkoye I want to say Janet she any day ye ni baby Jenny free buy that year no
landlord and then 2 free money me light equalim. Light equalim me me mattress, me tape. And then plastic chairs me tire and me pabo and me bags in the go. That's my back when you and yadi am used to light equalim. You say on me try check. If I pay will you about me buy. It yadi am used to light equalim. Nyade mi sulat ko den ah jani mi be fi me mo adwuma no frame na mba ya ho nyina hye it is obi na eze bia mi ni wona e bia open me de boni no jabe to dia ah ho mi omo nya tu obi aka ah ya tu obi aka so free ho to mo wani mo do mo kan wo akire ono omo wo de otu omo nyina aka so mo nyom kia so free ho intimi e frame kofi yentumi ah e fa na ya asarantoa
na Johnny free
Hanete a Johnny free your friend man be from na assassin so e ho ne yen yete nti afram assassin so ayete no a Johnny free afram assassin achi but no omabo shield na first fitani biti o na omatu no nti omatu fitani no because ho na assassin e won afram achi no maton nti omatu no nti because omatu no nti na shield no omabo no fitani na boy adwuma ya bokios wase so Johnny started here boys na one round we for so see ebedum jano but your pressure na shade no Johnny to me explode nti na a contain heat no or down more any 10 minutes and a hand national because of that shield na omabo nti obi ka omuni hono omuni bi esi here
okay nti Johnny dey na she see cars ni be
cars bi cars actually dey fit any ba ko we chi on and cars actually dey me ko ha me hu se car be 4-5 na na esi ni other side o ba ye wo ha na ye wo kiosk ni mu nyina dey ni nyina aye dey
kiosk be sa hin
actually ha na dey kiosk be set almost 20 na wo premises I sura ye kan nya bom dey getting to about 30 to 40 kiosks and a while around
for team
yeah that is what we do for our life.
And the moon mutu rent.
You chia asasika daily, monthly. Emma the landowners no.
Until there's a landowner over here.
Landowner no say see idea. Or hine intiminko, but maybe only around. Intiminko can't change see. And maybe ninya no craft friends. This is what happened. Until intiminka say be say landowner near con home straight. Of I see a share near who the be answer na yetima de akon home.
But me can say ono so ni kiosk nche na dey start here na ono so no wo hobby na
oh that be the obeka chance landowner bi ati anoboa landowner bi anti ha ye twi asasika ya de kiosk abesi an ye ti ha nti landowner bi eni o ti ha asase na we chire o maton nti afram de no pen aka ono no consider ye that so ti ha but I start free baby ya ton no ya turn answer na eba ye premises no into your bag chance landowner bia na otiano awo sika wo so ba betra ye kios mind
but your frozen
me did Akusa Isaac.
Scores of farmers in the Sisala West district of the Upper West region are counting their losses after fire ravaged their farms this weekend. One of the victims is the regional best maize farmer John Dima, who lost 31 acres of his produce. Though the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained, he tells JoyNews many farmers are devastated by their loss and want government's assistance.
There is a colleague of mine, he also lost his farm produce, and the tractor was even burnt to ashes. One of them too, who also happened to be an art grower of mine, he also lost, I think, 5 acres.
What triggered the fire? Do you know?
I think it's a traveling fire. Well, we actually saw the fire at a far distance, and we've been hunting and trying to block it. We hunted the fire almost 3 days, and it didn't get to the site before they came. They came to the village for the funeral. And in anticipation that it may come there, that is even one of the reasons why some of them gone back to check on the...
Was there an intervention by the fire service?
No. Last 3 years, I encountered a similar incident. But when we brought the fire service, they couldn't enter the farm. You know, the type of land preparations we did normally do was some portions of the field is not harrow. It's just a big plow. So when you bring the fire service fire tender, when they enter and they listen, get into some of the gutters that the tractors created during plowing. They are not able to move.
How do you feel right now?
Oh, you can. We are not talking about small money. It's got locked. It's quite. I'm very sad with it. And at the moment, some of them too were back, and we shelled them and backed them, but they are close to the chaff of the maize. So we haven't picked them. And once the fire is huge, that some of the back got melt, but we could still pick the maize anyway. But once they melt and they got burned and the grains fall to the ground, if you are even picking, you cannot pick all, and the quality too will be challenged over here. Well, when you are picking them, stones will definitely get their ways into the grains.
Balo Muhammad is a journalist in the nearby town of Tumu and has been following the situation on the ground for us.
Bushfires are becoming a problem in agriculture in the Sisale East and West District, particularly Tumu, Lambusi, Welembele, where maize farming is done in high quantities. I'm saying that you can have one person do 100 acres, 150, 300. And a recent case is the national best maize farmer, Mr. John Dema, whose 31-acre maize farm got burnt, and he lost close to 1,500 mini bags of 50 kilograms. And these farmers, including the over 80% of farmers who are into maize farming, collect input from banks and sponsors, and these sponsors will come back later for the monies. And the rate at which bushfires are consuming maize farms is alarming.
These are but a few of the many fire outbreaks experienced in the last week alone in parts of the country. Many would believe the Harmattan has something to do with it. So how do we prevent fires or control one if it happens around you? Listen to Michael Walter Okai, Assistant Station Officer with the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, with some tips. He spoke earlier on the polls.
We've identified 3 elements. Those elements are oxygen, fuel, and heat. Oxygen, you know where we get our sources of oxygen.
Yeah.
What are the fuel? Fuel is anything that can burn at a particular temperature. So in this fuel, we have the solid one, we have the liquid ones, and then we have the gaseous ones. And then we can also talk of the heat. What are some of the sources of heat? If we are able to identify all these elements and make sure we pull them apart, then we'll prevent fires from occurring. What I want to tell the general public now is around this time, they should desist from burning indiscriminately.
Okay.
Those of you who are keeping flammable substances in your kitchen and other places should desist from it. They should move them from where they are, because the slightest mistake, the whole edifice or whatever it is will go up in flames. How do we put on our stoves, even our ladies when they are about to cook it?
Yeah, sometimes we turn it on first before we put the matches.
Yes, you see, the process by which you start cooking should be the very process by which you put off the cylinder. You understand? So before you cook, make sure you go to the stove. When you go to the stove, check the knobs on the stove and make sure they are all off. Your kids see you play with it, so there's a tendency they may also play with it. And when I go through the process, you understand why I'm also saying that. You understand? When you check the knobs on the stove and they are all off, go to the cylinder, turn the regulator on the cylinder. Come to the burner, put on your matches, and then make sure you see the flames before you turn on the gas.
And even that, you should turn it to the lowest, not the highest.
Not to the highest, exactly. And then when you are done with cooking and you want to put it off, leave the food and the fire on. Go back to the cylinder and turn the regulator off. Gas trapped in the tube will burn out. And then, you know, when you don't go through that process, what happens is sometimes people put it off from the burner, from the burner before they come to the stove. Then there's gas trapped in the tube. When a cubic of a centimeter is discharged into the atmosphere, it multiplies itself by 250 times. That is enough to set your entire edifice ablaze.
Okay. Those were some tips from the National Fire Service. Now, you can now sit in the comfort of your home and shop from supermarkets, local markets and pharmacies, thanks to a new app, Shop Now. The new e-commerce platform offers a personal shopping experience and on-demand delivery within an hour to customers. Shop Now, introduced in June last year, has the biggest three-sided online marketplace and offers product categories ranging from groceries, restaurants, and local markets. There's more in the following report.
Shop Now customers comprise buyers, sellers, and delivery partners with distinct applications that power them to interact with each other effectively on the platform. Shop Now has the seller app, customer app, and the delivery app. Aside from the free sign-up cost for sellers, they will also enjoy exclusive benefits such as no commission charge on items sold, no markups on prices, upfront payment to sellers on pickup, and a wider market reach. Benjamin Osasanti, founder and CEO of Shop Now at the launch on Tuesday, said businessmen and women must take advantage of this opportunity.
Shop Now is a three-sided marketplace. As a three-sided marketplace, we seek to bring together customers, sellers, and delivery people. What you usually find out there is that people set up and bring customers and sellers together, and then they miss out on the delivery part. But we have brought the three parts together and have found a synergy for all the three parties to work together to bring e-commerce to the doorsteps of customers. For sellers, for example, we do not charge any commission on products sold. We also do not compete with sellers. In other words, we don't sell our own products on the platform. We promote virtually everything that the seller has. When it comes to the customers, we provide real live tracking to the extent that you can virtually see that the guy bringing the item is at the next junction, has gotten to that blue kiosk, and is just close to you.
One of the market women at the launch of the app spoke to JoyNews.
We've learned a lot, and we know it will help us, especially those of us in the market, the local market, if I should say. It will help us a lot because of our products, you know. With this one, we are going down to our level. This is going down to the market woman's level. So it's been a very great experience, and I'll urge all market women to join this crusade.
Benjamin Osasanti, founder and CEO of Shop Now, says their aim is not only to maximize profit, but give back to society in their quest for business growth.
Welcome back to JoyNews Prime. Now, Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the Center for Democratic Development says commemoration of the Constitution Day should afford the country the opportunity to discuss drafting a new constitution. According to him, the constitution in its current state has several shortfalls and gaps that need to be looked at. He has also been speaking about how Ghanaians can make use of the day rather than just marking it as another holiday.
Bringing focus to it, because that is like our guiding document for the kind of society we want to build in Ghana and so on. So bringing focus onto it every year so that we try to get an understanding whether the constitution is working for us, is delivering on our objectives, economic, social, political. For me, it's a good thing. So it allows us to really take stock of how the constitution is working. Maybe we still haven't thought through how do we bring Ghanaians to be part of this, to not think of it just as another holiday, where you can stay at home and so on, but a period of actual reflection and participation. If we really want to be citizens of a country, what exactly should we be doing? So we need some events that actually, for me, promotes that. I, for example, think that you should make it some sort of a community day agenda where communities have a meeting and sort of discuss their community issues, like a town hall across the country. That will bring citizens more involved in, and then you can reflect on the subject matter. And I also think we should use the opportunity to discuss actually having a new constitution, because we went through the constitutional review process, but even if we were to try to implement all of the proposals that have been put in place, it's not feasible to do that. Just imagine what happened with a referendum. just one question and the confusion that it brought. So we actually need to kind of redraft, because there are so many gaps in there, and that maybe a new constitution, just like how the Kenyans did, for us to consider all of the things that we are missing, all the things we want to clarify. Recently there was a confusion during the vetting of the Chief Justice as to when you should declare your assets and so on and so forth. All of these things can be clarified in a new constitution, so that we can have a better document, that takes us forward.
Zongo chiefs in the Ashanti region are concerned about the increasing rate of child marriages in their communities. Girls between the ages of 10 and 16 are falling victims to early and forced marriages in Zongo communities in the Ashanti region. Some families continue to push female minors into such relationships every week in contravention of the Children's Act, which pegs the minimum age of marriage at 18. My colleague Ohemen Teria of our security desk has more in the following report.
Police Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit has rescued 3 victims of child marriage in Kumasi in the last 2 months. They include 2 junior high school students and a senior high school student whose father has since been convicted for his role in his daughter's case. DOSU officials say child marriage is still prevalent despite introduction of free senior high school and other state interventions to support education of children. Superintendent Susanna Derry heads the unit in Ashanti region.
Child marriage in Ashanti region is generally not that common. It is only found in certain communities which is occupied by people who practice different culture and different religion. Generally, the Muslim communities, they practice the child marriage. But I also see that it is a kind of practice that they don't see anything wrong with. The laws of Ghana do not accept that, but for them, with their beliefs, they think that it is right. And so if you go to those communities, they still practice child marriage.
16-year-old SHS student was being married off to a Wenchi-based electrician against her will of furthering her education. She is now back to school under strict surveillance of police and school authorities following a court order. The father was convicted and sentenced to a fine of 2,400 Ghana cedis.
There were cooking going on, and also where the child was kept. All this was gathered and then brought back to me. So we now embarked on the operation. With the help of SWAT and the anti-armed robbery squad, we were able to get some armed men to accompany me and my investigator to the scene. And we went in, forcibly took the girl out without anybody questioning because of the scene. They had seen armed men around, and we rushed her out of the area to my office and subsequently to a shelter for temporal safety.
The Council of Zongo Chiefs is worried over surging cases of child marriage in the region, especially in Kumasi. The council has intervened in several instances to halt some child marriages. Alhaji Musa Shuabu Sharif is the secretary to Council of Zongo Chiefs.
The community is talking about it, and then the Zongo leadership was also talking about it. The Zongo leadership has not been left out in this particular issue. Why? Because we are in a country governed by rules and regulations. And we have a constitution in the country that all of us should be law-abiding citizens. That is, if you follow the constitution, because the constitution says before any child or any person gets married, he has to be 18 years and above. Or else if you do anything with any child who is not married at that time, we can call it a defilement. And if they take you to Waju, the law, can find you guilty, and anything can happen to you. Let me tell you, there's a cleric here some time ago that wanted to marry a child that is below 18 years. So many hadiths, that is the saying of the Prophet. I mean, a lot of, but the community, because he's a leader, if he does that, he's going to set a bad precedent to people. My imam or my leader or my chief has done that, and that one can go. So the community also stood up against that. So we will not agree unless the girl reaches 18 years. We insisted, and then we never allowed that imam to marry her until the girl reached 18 years.
Police believe culture and religion could be forcing more minors into child marriage than reported. Cost of resettling victims is one of the major concerns of police in the face of resource constraints.
Transportation is one of the very difficult issue we have at the regional DOPSU here. And if you have it will actually help us do more, because these things are going on. Sometimes, if we are informed and we don't have available means, by the time we move, maybe it will have been too late.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohime Interior reporting.
And back here in Accra and in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim, and the Police, Motor Traffic and Transport Department wants road safety to be treated as a public health issue with a comprehensive approach to address concerns. Though the Ashanti Regional Commander acknowledges motor and tricycles contribute to road crashes, it is a reflection of the general accidents on the roads. Road accident deaths in the region went up from 400 to 2018 to 448 last year, with vehicular crashes increasing by 18%. Regional MTTD Commander Superintendent Edubuahin says a holistic approach to fighting accidents is the way to go. Superintendent Edubuahin also proposes dedicated lanes for motor and tricycles, as well as restricts their operations to specific areas of the cities.
To the complete man, to me, I think wouldn't serve the good purpose. What I would advocate, or I would suggest, is that one, if you look at our roads, especially on the highways, and then the urbanized roads, our roads are such that they are already populated with vehicles. So sharing the same route with these smaller vehicles are sometimes problematic. If there could be dedicated lanes for these vehicles, yeah, the tricycles and the motorbikes, if there are dedicated lanes, as we can find elsewhere, that will solve the problem. Or, once we don't have them now, if their operations could also be limited to certain areas, not necessarily on the highways, on the urban and the city center, where you get to the roadside, you pick it, you go to your home without necessarily coming through the main road. I think that could be fine, because sometimes they are also very necessary when it comes to the way we use our commercial, or the way we use our vehicles on our roads. Now, when you look at the total number of motorbikes to tricycles that we sometimes call a pragya or the rickshaw, last year we recorded 633 accident cases. This year, 2019, it is 954. 954, and then the difference is 321. So, and you look at it, that the percentage increase is 51%. So, if you look at the trend from the total number of vehicles, the percentage increase was 18%. From the commercial, the percentage increase was 11%. For the private, the percentage increase was 14%. But with these motorbikes and then the tricycles or the pragya, the percentage increase is 51%, which is something that we all need to be very careful, and it's alarming.
An amount of 700 million Ghana cedis has been approved for the Electoral Commission ahead of the 2020 elections. The Electoral Commission has in recent times come under massive backlash for requesting almost 500,000 Ghana cedis to compile a new voters register for the 2020 elections. Deputy Chairman in charge of operations at the EC, Samuel Tete, says with the approval of the EC's budget, the new voters register will be compiled in the first quarter of this year. He spoke on PM Express.
Commission presented a budget of 1.3 billion to Parliament, but 700 billion have been approved. That is the ceiling which was given to the EC by Parliament. So the EC is still talking with Parliament to find out if we can actually get the difference. But it was 1.3 and 700 has been approved.
When are you looking at compiling a new voters register? What are the processes?
Yes, the Commission will have it done in the first quarter of this year. So let's see, by April, the Commission will start the new voters register. And it's going to, compilation of the new voters register is going to be at every polling station. What the Commission will do is that in our procurement processes, we are procuring 8,000 BVR kits. That's what will be used in the registration exercise. And we are going to adopt what we call the cluster system. So for each 4 polling stations, it forms a cluster. And the registration team will spend about 10 days. All these things, we are discussing them, you know, but they will spend 10 days at each polling station. So within 40 days, we will cover the whole country. And then we will actually use about 5 or 6 days to do some mopping up. So in all, maybe in about 46, 47 days, the whole exercise will be completed.
How much of the budget is going into the compilation of a new voters register?
Yes.
And the purchasing of new biometric registration machines?
The compilation of the new voters register is 390,265,184.44, and that one includes the officials that we are going to recruit and train, you know, and then all the materials that we will need for the registration exercise.
Samuel Tete has also been justifying the request to procure new biometric verification machines.
We have an equipment which the cost of refurbishing is very high as compared to procuring a new one. 2, it has also reached its end of life. When we say end of life, you know, even the manufacturers are not manufacturing what? The parts. And the parts keeps on failing us. I hope you get me. When it comes to the BVDs, for instance, the serious challenge with the BVD is the manual the BVD is not unable to verify some voters. And that actually leads to the use of what we call the manual verification form. High incidence of manual verification form. And if you look at the recent district level elections, we have some statistics of the high incidence of the use of manual verification form, especially in Upper West and Upper East. And I have the figure here. Upper East, out of the 271,961, those who were manually verified was 7,991. And in Upper West, out of 205,758, 8,728 were manually verified. So if you look at the number of manual verification, and that is what most people are actually crying about. They are thinking that it leads to some sort of abuse, you know. So if you look at the cost of maintaining the BVDs and the constant failure of the BVDs to verify voters, then there is no need for us to continue using the BVDs. And in addition, we are talking about facial recognition, which the new equipment that we are going to procure will have. So if your fingers are not verified, then we can actually use your face. So it is an add-on which is very, very important, which is going to do away with manual verification. And the Commission also believes that every vote matters. There is no way that people will go to the polling station to vote, and on the day of the election, their votes are not counted. So in a nutshell, if you look at the high rates at which the equipment are failing, and if you look at how much we are spending to refurbish them, and then the cost of buying a new one, then you can actually say that it is prudent for us to buy a new one, which is far lower than what the previous vendors actually quoted as refurbishing, and then in another breath buying a new one.
Founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Amwaku Tufo, has warned the Ashanti Region Executive seeking to prevent anyone from contesting sitting MPs to stop the practice.
If you go into Parliament, there are certain individuals who are performing. We should be able to find these, make a list of them, then we can go to their constituencies. And anybody who wants to challenge them, we can beg them, we can discuss with them in a very fair manner, not authoritative manner. NPP is a democratic party. Every single person has the right to be ambitious, has a right to decide what he wants to do with his life. So if that is conflicting with party and government wishes, you sit down, jaw. If the guy doesn't understand and he feels that he's better than the incumbent MP, if the incumbent MP is that good, his people will re-elect him as the parliamentary candidate or the MP re-elected. Maybe the people he is gone there to serve are not happy. So when this new parliamentary candidate is coming in, he may have some following. Now, you cannot force him out. If you force him out, you are forcing the will of those who will vote for the party in December out. That is why it has to be a peaceful process. Bema, I need Mr. X in Parliament because he holds the anchor. We can give you something else. There must be a quid pro quo. There must be respect for the individual. If, for instance, you don't elect an MP, the MP should go straight, re-elected. How did they become MPs? Didn't they contest with other people who could have also had experience? Secondly, when is the cutoff point that an MP should be allowed to gain experience? Okay, so it takes 5 years, 10 years, 12 years. When he's dead or weak, now you're going to look for new people to come in to replace him? No, there must be a nice reshuffle in the system. I think a solution to that, simply at this point of your question, is that leadership of Parliament plus selected members of the National Council of the party, selected members of the National Executive Committee, with the President himself there. And 1 or 2 selected members of Council of Elders to decide, here is a list of people we want to maintain, but we don't want a static party. It has to be dynamic, it has to evolve, it has to change with time. We knew new people, we know and we want new people to come in, also pick up experience. If you don't allow somebody to come in, you won't know who will be much better than the one you are grooming to have experience, or you think is gaining experience. I'm not saying wipe everybody out. There are some who automatically get re-elected. That is aside. But it's those that the people, and there must be respect for the will and the thought of the people should be absolute, because they cast the ballot.
Residents of Siriyiri in the Wa West district are having a sigh of relief following the relocation of the refuse dam from their community. The Siriyiri community for several years has been engaged in a running battle with the Wa Municipal Assembly over the dumping of refuse in that area. Wa Municipal Chief Executive Isahaku Tahiru Mumin disclosed that they have acquired a temporal site around the Wa Bongo enclave, which will be used for 2 months before moving to a permanent site. He made the statement during an interaction with the press in Wa. JoyNews' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Siriyiri refuse dumping site was initially acquired several decades ago by the Wa District Assembly to set up a composite manure plant. The plant, however, later metamorphosed into a refuse dumping site. At the time that the site was acquired at the outskirts of the community, very few people lived there. The situation is, however, different today. The community is now sprawling, and the number of residents have increased over the years. The site is now located at the heart of the community, with residents having fears of an epidemic.
Look at the community's houses are built closer to the site, and flies, when you are to eat, you eat with flies. Then our children or school going children, women are now most working in the site, looking for scrap to sell, and it's very difficult to chase them away. The place is not enclosed, so you can't leave your work and say you are going to monitor that so that children will not come there.
At the start of last year, there was growing tension between the Wa Municipal Assembly and residents of Siriyiri community, with the former being asked to stop dumping refuse at the site. The residents went further by locking the gates of the site to trucks bringing refuse. The move angered the Wa Municipal Assembly.
June, we blocked the entrance to the dumping site. Then later on, what we experienced, the ordeal that military exhibit or meant out to our people was dehumanizing to human beings. One day we were at a funeral grounds, then military came there, dragged our people to the dumping site, then make them to be rolling on dirty water and receive several beatings, which was what inhumanized to our people.
A meeting was brokered between the leadership of the Siriyiri community and the Wa Municipal Assembly by the National Security. It was agreed that the Wa Municipal Assembly will stop the dumping of refuse at the site by December 31, 2019. Now that the December 31, 2019 deadline has elapsed, Wa Mayor Isahaku Tahiru Mumin urged residents of the Wa municipality not to be worried, for they have acquired a new temporary refuse dumping site for use. He said they will relocate to a new permanent site once it is fully engineered.
Located a temporary dumping site along the Wa Polytechnic area. There's a vast land behind the Polytechnic, and it is on unused gravel pits. Yes, that need to be filled. currently. So that is what we are going to use at the moment within the next 2 months. The Perisi site is also going to be engineered because we have to pay some money to the community for us to have the documentation done. And that one is yet to be done, and it will be done within the first or second week of January. So when that is done, we'll begin to engineer the place and make it a permanent dumping site for the refuse from the municipality.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
And back here, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Over 185 deprived communities along the Eastern Corridor in the northern region have petitioned the President and Electoral Commission to create a new constituency out of the Gushegu constituency. According to them, the large nature of the constituency is hindering development. The 2010 population census puts the total population of Gushegu constituency at 111,259. Out of this figure, over 61,000 constitutes the proposed Nabuli-Nawugu constituency.
At a deba in Nabuli in the Gushegu constituency to raise their concerns, Jagan Emmanuel Morgan, who read the petition, said most of the electoral areas are too large and too far from the capital, making it difficult for them to receive the development they need.
The proposed area has a total of 10 electoral areas comprising Nabuli, Naogu, Katani, Namongbani, Nasumia, Kole, Damankum, Zanteli, Bo'o, and Wawu electoral area. Most of the electoral areas are too large and cover too many communities, which breeds challenges within effective local governments. The creation of the proposed Nabuli-Nawogu constituency would be concrete steps to bring governance close to the people. The total number of registered voters per last population and housing census in these communities were over 69,000, with average population growth rate of 3%. The current voters population in these communities or electoral areas would be hitting 91,000 voters. Yet the proposed area cannot boast of a constituency. Besides, the distance from these communities or electoral areas to the constituency capital is very far, and this has deprived the area from getting the needed attention and support from the constituency and the municipal capital.
He said the area has no single road and their means of transport is either a motorbike or tractors. He said this has become extremely hard for them to transport their farm produce to nearby markets and the world at large. According to Mr. Morgan, the area has a large school dropout rate because there is no senior high school in the area.
The proposed area has poor road network, which makes the transportation of farm produce and transaction of businesses in the land so difficult, especially during rainy season. We believe that the creation of the new constituency would graciously solve the perennial water crisis in the area. The area has no good drinking water for both humans and other animals, of which this has led to less keeping of animals and irrigational farming in the area. We believe the creation of the new constituency would enhance or stimulate economic growth and prosperity. It will assist in developing agricultural farming societies and promote the validation of agro-based industries. On a notion that the carving of the proposed constituency out of the Gushegu current constituency, now municipal, would improve the issues of health, electricity, etc. in the area. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen of the media, we are cognizant of the day in and out struggle the country is making under able leadership of His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo towards the achievement of the sustainable development goals. Yet we are not receiving the desired share of the national cake. And this does not seek to suggest that
The current and the previous members of parliament for Gushegu constituency and the municipal assembly are responsible for our neglect. But the large nature of the constituency and the municipality makes it totally impossible for us to receive this deserved portion of the national cake.
The Gushegu Municipal Chief Executive, Issa Musa, who endorsed the move to petition the appropriate authorities for a new constituency, said it was in the right direction.
I fully endorse the petition, which I will also forward it to my boss and all those who matters, both at regional and the national level. If you look at the municipality, and as we all know, development is something that we are all yearning for. Specifically, looking at the background that I'm coming from, I am a teacher by profession, and education, as we all know, is the backbone. If you want any place to develop, I think education should be our priority. And looking at the size, the large nature of the municipality and the constituency, in fact, most of the times, sharing of items is always a problem. And I want to stand here and say that the creation of the proposed Nabuli-Nawu constituency, if granted, will facilitate a lot of development in the municipality.
And that's how we also wrap up the bulletin tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, happy Constitution Day. Enjoy the rest of our programs.